Hi, and welcome to Hair with Clare. I'm your host, Claire Devereaux. I'm a trichologist, a stylist, and founder of Hair Health Essentials. Join me every week with my guests where we talk about big hair, short hair, loud hair, quiet hair, shedding hair, wedding hair, everything in between the nasty and the good, and where you can find out how to have a good hair day every day. We're going to unlock the secrets to healthy locks. Hi, and welcome to Hair with Clare. I'm your host, Claire Devereaux, and this week I have another exceptional guest. Her name is Amber Jean Rowan. She is an actress, a model, an artist. She also is here to talk about her journey with alopecia, her wig line, Amber Jean Wigs, and also her store. She has a fabulous store in London that she just opened. And she also is a huge advocate. She has a fabulous online community with Hairfree, and she got married this year. So we have like an awful lot of things to talk about. Amber, you're joining us from London. I asked her already, what's the weather like over there? She said it's fine. It's lashing rain in Dublin. So thank you so much for joining me today on Hair with Clare.
It's absolute pleasure. And it's so cool that you're doing a podcast all around hair, because it's a topic that's obviously been very close to my heart for many, many years, and how our hair can define us, and not having hair, how that could define us. So I think there's many strands of interest in hair. So I'm excited to kind of get stuck in with you, and thank you for having me.
Oh, I love that. Strands. I love that. Well, first of all, before we get stuck into all your alopecia journey, that's just been amazing and brought you to where you are. Can you tell me about how you got to London in your acting career, your modeling, and how you've ended up over there?
Totally. Well, from as long as I can remember, I've kind of always had in my head that London was going to be the place that I was going to live, because I started modeling when I was really young. I actually started when I was 8 years old, so doing commercials from around 8. So I had my still modeling agent to this day, Morgan, the agency, Rebecca. She's still my agent. She was looking after me at 8, booking me gigs, and she's still booking me gigs back in Ireland. So yeah, from being in the industry quite young, I kind of always was always over in London. So when I first started modeling really kind of professionally, past the years of 8, when I was kind of getting into my more teenage years, around 15, 16, I would spend my summers in London. I was represented here by a modeling agency. And yeah, any chance I would get, I'd be here. So Easter break from school, Christmas break, summer break. And to be honest, I didn't really spend that much time in school. I was mostly over here, pounding the streets of London trying to find some modeling work. So it was really just, it was an inevitability for me to come over here. And what made me make the final move was I got actually an acting gig. I got a film role that was filming here, and I kind of thought, okay, now this is perfect timing to move. So it was actually off the back of, I think I was filming in Wales, I think I was, but I needed a base in London. So I just kind of I just bit the bullet, and I came over, and I actually ended up staying with, she's an amazing actress who's doing super well for herself, Jessie Buckley, an amazing Cork actress. I ended up kind of keeping in her spare room for 3 months while I kind of got myself together and whilst I was filming. So yeah, it was really just the industry that took me over here. First, at the beginning, it was modeling, and then it transitioned into acting. And now it's transitioned into mostly modeling, and also the work that I do within my hair company as well. So I love London. You know, I'm settled here. I'm married a Northwest London man who I adore. We got married in July. So I am pretty much set up shop here. I have a big dog, a big Ridgeback, Reggie, who's 3 years old, and he's very not practical to have in London, but we love him very much. And yeah, London's home. I love Ireland and I love going back, but London is home for sure, and I'm very happy here.
London, I think London is amazing. There's so much opportunity over there and so much to do. You know, I love going over for weekends myself. And I bring my daughter over now, and she absolutely adores it as well. And I think she wants to go to college there. Obviously, we're way off that at the moment. But, you know, I really encourage that, because I went to college in London myself, and I love it. I think it's a great city and great for finding yourself when you're young as well.
Totally. And I really think, like, as you said, there's so much to do. There's so many experiences, so many people, diverse people, cultures, races, you know, everything's kind of at your fingertips, and you really have that buzz when you're here that anything is possible, especially within, I mean, all fields of work, but especially in my field of work. It really makes you believe that things can happen and things are possible, and there's just more work. And yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
It is great. And you're making a fabulous life over there. So that's wonderful. So let's have a chat about your alopecia journey, which is obviously a huge part of your life. And for anyone listening, obviously alopecia is an autoimmune disease. And there's different types of alopecia. Obviously, the most common one that I would see as a trichologist is alopecia areata, which tends to be bald patches on someone's scalp. But then we have obviously different types, like totalis, which is all your hair and usually eyebrows as well. And then universal, which is all your body hair as well as the hair from your scalp. So a lot of the time I see women coming to me and it's usually under 30 when it starts on females. Obviously, women can get it at different ages, but that's, I think, the majority of women that I see, it's under 30. And sometimes they have gone through something very traumatic, but also sometimes it can be in families and it can just be something that happens. And I'm really interested to hear your story of what age you were when this happened, and also just your whole journey throughout with modeling and everything, and how you brought it into your work and into your life.
Yeah, totally. Well, I started losing my hair when I was 15, and it started off as alopecia areata. So, as you say, little patches around the head. And at the time in Ireland, I think it's gotten a bit better now, not just in Ireland, but around the world, that alopecia is now more of a known thing. But at the time, it wasn't very known. It wasn't a topic of conversation at all. So at the beginning, when I went to the doctor with this little one bald patch at the back of my head, the first time I went, I think we were just met with a lot of confusion. They told us it was alopecia, and we equated alopecia to, people who were older, people who were stressed, people who had someone pass away in their life. So when then I was looking at myself as a young 15-year-old girl, it just didn't make any sense. So it wasn't so much a sense of sadness that came over me. It was more just a sense of confusion and shock. And I think also suppression of that emotion, and just thinking that, okay, it's going to come back. It's nothing to worry about. It's just a little patch in the head. So the doctor told us what it was, gave us some steroid ointments, and sent us on our way. But then the alopecia just started getting worse and worse. So the patches started to get more in different places. They began to get bigger. So then what happened was and at that time I remember, tying up my hairs in certain ways, putting sprays in the areas that were balding, wearing lots of headbands, just trying to disguise it going into school. But it kind of got to a point where the hair was just, again, like I said, just becoming really, really shoddy, and it was becoming really impossible to hide the bald areas. So I ended up getting a weave, which in hindsight probably wasn't the best idea. It was the only kind of option at the time because I wasn't ready to shave my head. I wanted to keep every ounce of it that I had. So I thought, okay, maybe it's a good idea to get a piece that I could kind of attach to my own hair. But my hair was thin. My hair was brittle. My hair was not wanting anything to be attached to it. So once I kind of got that piece in, I think the weight of that, and also maybe the hair was going to fall out anyway. We don't know. But the kind of weight of that weave kind of accelerated the hair loss. And then very quickly, from that point of it being alopecia areata, it kind of transitioned into full hair loss on the head. And yeah, there's a few moments throughout my alopecia journey that really stick with me. And that was one of them. I remember going into the hair salon at the time, and the first time them taking off that weave to kind of expose what was underneath, because I wasn't looking at it throughout the whole time. They were just adding and sticking on pieces of hair to this piece to make it look decent. Even though it was falling off because there was no hair to attach to. But, I do remember looking at myself that first time with not having any hair, and just that like gut wrenching feeling of like, shite, what do I do now? And then from that moment, I, stuck on a full wig, and that was that, and never looked back for, God, quite a few years. And there was like a few year period when it was falling, and those first couple of years when it had fallen off completely. Me and my mom especially, and my family, but really me and my mom were kind of on the journey to find a cure, even though there isn't any. So we tried everything. We went to see trichologists, dermatologists. We did oxygen therapy for the blood count. We did acupuncture. We did everything you can name. We tried. And I got to a point where that was actually more debilitating for my mental health. So we actually, and loads of pills. I hate taking pills. And they'd be stuffing me full of like 20 pills a day. And I was like, you know what? I just need to get through this. I liked my wig at the time, and I remember just being like, that's it. I'm just going to put my wig on and crack on and never take it off, not tell anyone that I had it. And I was in that headspace for quite some years. Because as we know, hair is such a, an innate sense of our sense of self. Absolutely. And also our self-esteem. So, and when it happens in around that time when you're kind of trying to find yourself in the world, it could be a little bit, very debilitating.
Yeah, I think it's hard at any age, but I think on top of everything, when you're a teenager going through that, I think it must be extremely difficult. And also, there's not, as you said, there's not really a cure. So a lot of the time with alopecia areata, it can come back by itself, your hair. But did your hair ever grow back, or once you got the patches, was it just ongoing where they got bigger?
So when it all fell out with the weave, so then it was like totally hair free. Then I remember it came back around like 50% once in it was like black spiky hair, came back in patches.
Yeah.
And then that fell out again and never came back. And then what happened was I had the most, if I don't say so myself, the most amazing eyebrows ever. Like they were fantastic. I had the most amazing eyelashes as well. Thick, gorgeous, bushy things. And so for, I think, 16, 17, 18, 19, yes, around 3-4 years, my eyebrows and eyelashes and body hair stayed. But then after that 3-4 year period, it then developed into totalis. So then everything started to go. And that was, without a shadow of a doubt, the hardest thing when the eyebrows went, because my hair was always thin. So, I grew to love my wigs in those 3 years because I could have thick, long hair like yourself. I'm as blonde as I wanted,
extensions, of course.
And then when the eyebrows went, I never wore any makeup in my life. I was the kind of girl, I whack on a bit of mascara and that would do me. So now having to draw on eyebrows, trying to get eyebrow stick-ons, eyebrow tattoos, eyebrow wigs, this whole journey, that was the hardest thing. I remember I was doing a play in the Gate Theatre, and one of the actresses, every single night before going on the stage, I found myself just borrowing her eyebrow pencil. And she was like, Amber, do you want to just take this eyebrow pencil? I was like, yeah, that's okay. And then I remember not washing my face for a couple of weeks, or washing my face, but not my eyebrows. And then I remember going into the toilet one night and being like, right, Amber, come on, let's do it. And then I washed my face and my eyebrows, and I saw the patches in my eyebrows. And I remember being like, oh my God, bawling, crying. So that was another moment. And it was quite in quick succession that the eyelashes then started to fall as well. So yeah, that was definitely the trickiest, for sure. That was so hard, the eyebrows, for sure.
Yeah, because they frame your face, you don't realize how much they frame your face. A lot of people that I've seen with alopecia tend to wear glasses as well, with quite a heavy frame as well, because they want to give their face, particularly if it's men, because they don't tend to want to draw on eyebrows so much, but they want something to frame their face, so they wear a heavy frame to kind of give them that, definition. But I had on, my guest last week was another great guest, herself, Fanula, and she suffers with trichotillomania, where she pulls out her eyelashes, her eyebrows. But what she said about, particularly growing up in Ireland as well, was that she felt very isolated. And I think that that's probably something that must be very hard to find other people that are like you, particularly if we go back as well. I know everyone's much more open now about it. And not everyone that's obviously has alopecia talks about it, but you can definitely find the information out there, I think, a lot more. And obviously with someone like yourself who's talking about it, and your wig line and everything, there's a lot more there, and someone can identify with it. They feel there's hope even. And so did you find it very isolating, or did you need people to talk to about it? Was there any help that you could get, or other people that you knew?
Not really. And yourself, when you're going through it, all you want to see is being able to call someone up and chat to them who's kind of gone through it, or even in the media, or people you look up to. Yes. Even seeing someone who looks like you. We bang on about representation, but it's a legit real thing. You just want to be able to be like, she doesn't need to be a superstar, but you just want to be able to look at someone and be like, okay, she's alopecia, she looks like me, and she's doing fine, she's living a good life, and that's cool. And that was one of the main reasons why a few years back, around 5 years ago now, I set up my online community called Hairfree. It's an Instagram and a website, and we really just share tips, share stories, share share ideas, share, you know, I'm having sex with the lad and I don't want my wig to come off. What do I do? Like things that you would just want to ask another woman who's kind of going through it, you know. And I did find it isolating, and I just found it really confusing, no one to turn to, and again, no representation. So my life's mission, I believe, and definitely one of them, is just to kind of, you know, get rid of that taboo as much as we possibly can around talking around hair loss, and also just making it more accessible for people to be able to speak about it, and also having that community to be like, you're not alone. And I think when we're going through anything, right, knowing that there's other people going through a similar experience to you, it helps tenfold to know that you're really not alone. So yeah, I most definitely found it isolating, but I'm doing everything in my power now to kind of make it easier for women kind of going through it, especially in Ireland when the community is quite small, and for them to be able to look. And when we think about Instagram, right, there's so many negative things with that, and we have to kind of use it with our glasses on to make sure we're not kind of taking everything at face value. But that is one wonderful thing about Instagram, is, you know, from starting Hairfree, myself being able to grow into being a woman, and being a woman that I'm proud of. And I've done that by also meeting all these other amazing women. I get to hear their stories about their hair loss journeys, and they've taught me so much. So having that two-way relationship with people who've been through something similar has just helped me in my life so much, and obviously given me a sense of purpose to be able to help others as well.
It's amazing, and your connection with people is fantastic as well through obviously your Instagram. And I know there can be a lot of negative things, but I think it's amazing what you're doing. You're a fabulous role model for women out there going through any kind of hair loss. And it's great that someone like yourself out there doing all this. I really have to commend you for that. I think it's amazing. So tell me, obviously I love wigs. I love changing up my look a little bit different. My hair is finer. I always wear extensions, or I put in pieces, but I love wigs in general. And I often think that there is a huge, and coming from even my styling background and working with different looks on shoots and stuff, I always feel in Europe, particularly in Ireland and in England, a lot of women think, oh, wigs are only for, you know, like if someone's sick or they need to wear a wig. But I think wigs are so much more than that. I think they are such a great fashion statement. They're great for like finishing off a fabulous outfit. It doesn't have to be anything over the top. No one might even know you're wearing a wig. But I even saw Shania Twain was playing here, I think, the other night. I didn't see her in person, but she was here, and I've seen things on Instagram, and she's blonde one night, she's red another night. I mean, it's just great to be able to explore all these personalities. And even Beyonce. And I think even the Kardashians, what I have found, particularly in my styling work, is someone will come into me and they'll be maybe a brunette like Kim. They want to be like Kim Kardashian. And then Kim goes platinum blonde and they want to go platinum blonde. And I'm trying to explain that's a wig, you know? And I think it's, you know, if people only just said wearing wigs, because all these young girls out there destroying their hair with trying to go from a natural, maybe very dark color to a platinum blonde. And, you know, let's face it, it's usually only for a week or for a photo shoot. And then that person's gone back to their fabulous natural hair because they're wearing wigs. So to me, wigs are like amazing and a lifeline for a lot of people. And also, I worked in the States for a long time. And when I'd work in like Texas, particularly like Dallas and stuff, all the women would wear wigs. And, you know,
like Dolly Parton.
Yeah, like Dolly Parton. The bigger the hair, the nearer to God. I mean, the hair was huge. I loved it. And they had a wig for every day of the week. And they were all the same, usually even the same color. No one would know it was a wig. And they just had all different styles. It made their life very easy. So I found that fascinating. So tell me about your journey with wigs. Obviously, you're trying to find something for yourself. I'm sure that brought you on the journey. But tell me, how was that? Because you imagine there's lots of wigs out there. But when you go looking, I'm sure it's very difficult to find something comfortable and natural, light, on your head.
You're so true. And I'll touch on all those aspects of wigs and what they can do for us and our sense of self, and how we can just, you know, be whoever we want to. We were wearing a piece, and they're not just for women who are going through a hair-free journey or going through the hair-free within their life. They're for everyone, and they can be so much fun. So I'm always saying to my girlfriends, like, come into the shop, try one on, go on your night out, you'll enjoy it, you won't regret it. But yes, with my wig journey from very young age, as I said, when my hair fell out, I popped that wig on and it didn't bloody leave my head. They became my armor, my safety net. They became my shield to the world. When I wasn't ready to be hair free, they were there for me. They were like a big hug and a big cuddle to let me know that it was going to be okay. And it just allowed me to be one of the people, just blending in with the crowd. And I really, really needed that. So they were a lifeline for me, 100%. Finding a good one, on the other hand, was very, very challenging. And for me, the main reason why I set up Amber Jean, my wig line, is because I was never happy. I never thought the wigs were good enough. I never thought they looked cool enough. And I also didn't think that the experience was good enough. For me, I see amazing things happening within the fashion world and the beauty world, and even like the hair care world, where everything's being elevated, it's moving with the times, things are evolving, they're changing. But for some reason, the wig world is just stayed flat, stayed still, hasn't moved. And I really just wanted to, take the wig industry and shake it up a little bit and make it something that women are, first of all, proud to say that they're wearing a wig, not feeling like it's this old-fashioned thing to be wearing a wig, and really just make the experience a beautiful one, like you're walking into an amazing salon to get your hair blown out, or like you're going in to get an amazing facial, or going into Louis Vuitton to buy your really expensive bag for the first time. These are investment pieces. So why don't we make the experience of buying a hairpiece a really beautiful one, a calming one, and also a little bit of a glamorous one, because women deserve to feel special. Just because they're buying a hairpiece doesn't mean they don't deserve to feel special. If anything, the women are more than likely going through something that's really challenging. So they need to be taken care of the most. And for me, that's what really led me. I was just so sick of the shite customer service and, having people who didn't really get it, whacking a wig on me, telling me that it was fine when really it wasn't. The hairstyling of the wigs being really old fashioned. And I really just, I wanted to change that. And I wanted to make wigs that I was happy to wear. And from my kind of work within the creative fields like modeling and acting, I was lucky enough to be exposed to really good wigs. So I knew they were out there. So I really wanted to bring that into the hair-free world of the women who are wearing wigs because they need to, not that they want to, for them to be able to wear these amazing wigs as well. Because I say to the women who come into my store, I'm never going to give you a wig that I'm not going to wear myself. And trust me, I'm very, very, very picky. And we have women come into our store. We opened a store just recently in London in February.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
Thank you. We were online before that, and it's just been a game changer. Being able to just see the women coming in, being able to chat to them, firstly, just being able to relate to other women is just a wonderful thing to be able to do, and see that you're helping is really great. But for the women to be able to touch, to try, to feel what they think suits them versus what they end up leaving with, because what people think they want a lot of the time isn't actually what looks best on them. And we have women coming into us for all different reasons. And what's so funny is the loss is still the loss. So I like you said when we touched on before, of whether you're 15 or 60 and you come in to see me and either you're going through trichotillomania or chemotherapy or female thinning, that feeling is pretty much the same. It's just that grief and loss of what once was and what isn't, and having to come to terms with wearing a piece. And I say to women when they come in the door, I say, you're going to try on these wigs. They're not going to look like wigs. They're going to look like probably nicer than your own hair.
Your best hair.
Yes. So you don't need to worry about people thinking it's a wig. What you need to worry about, or just start thinking about, is how you're going to feel when you put on your piece. But it's about how you feel on the inside. No one else is going to know. It's just going to be a change and an adjustment for you. And you see women when they try them on, because we have this idea of wigs being, uncool and not fashionable at all, and you see them put them on, they're like, oh thank God. And then they kind of really relax into it. And then you see them have fun, you see them try on gray pieces, blonde pieces, and then we can either go for something that they're comfortable with, or sometimes you see women be like, you know what, I've always wanted to be a redhead. I'm only going to be hair free for a couple of years. Let's do it, So it's amazing to see that woman come sit down, being apprehensive, as of course she should be, because it's a big life-changing thing. And to leave beaming with a smile on her face is just an amazing thing. So I'm so delighted that I'm able to offer that service to women, because I feel like it's so important. They deserve to feel beautiful and also have their hand held along that journey, because it is a challenging one. And I say to women, it's shite. When you lose your hair, it's not good. But there's things and people out there that hopefully can help and make you feel less alone and make you feel like yourself again, or even better than yourself with a beautiful piece on,
Absolutely. Well, I think you've touched on so many things there, because I think it's changing a mindset, first of all. I think for a lot of women that are hair free, their options are a wig. So they look at that a little bit closer.
Mhm.
But touching on women that I've come in contact with through my work that have thinning hair or, female pattern baldness, even just on the top of their hair, they don't really want to go down the road of a wig, even though it would make them feel so much better and it would give them back that confidence. I've so many patients that I see through the years, and they don't even want to go out at the weekend. They turn down going on holidays. They turn down having really any kind of life because their confidence has gotten so low, and they feel everyone's looking at their hair, even if their hair is not really, really thin, but even any kind of hair loss, as you said, to an individual is a huge thing. And I
Mhm.
think to be open to looking at things like pieces and wigs, it can really open up. It can be a lifeline. It really can be a lifeline. And I think it's so important to get that across, because
Yeah.
it's not just because maybe you need it. Maybe you did always want to be a redhead, and why not? Or maybe your hair is very damaged from doing something chemically with your hair, or a lot of people do things like that too. And maybe it just gets you through a patch that way. But it's great to have the options. And with any kind of hair loss, anything that makes you feel good about yourself, I really think is so you have to encourage, and a glamorous experience. And I love that. So you're doing obviously in person. You also do online consultations as well, Amber, yeah?
Yeah, so we do both. So what I think is really important as well, we have a lot of clients from all over the world. So, we've loads of Irish clients, lots of UK clients, and then we have clients from like Timbuktu, people, we make bespoke clients for women in Iceland, Japan, and because like I say, lots of these services they're not out there. So we end up having people come across the world for us on the phone, which is brilliant. And what we do is we have calls like this over FaceTime where we kind of chat through everything the woman needs, everything the woman wants. We choose their cap construction, we choose the texture, length, and we kind of gather all that information and basically create the perfect piece for that particular woman. And like you said, we have lots of women who don't have any kind of hair loss. They have, as you say, spent years dyeing their hair, so it's all broken, and they want to give their hair a break, so they want to wear a wig. We have women kind of going through really quite intensive with their dermatologists and their trichologists, lots of ointment treatments and things like that, so they want to be able to pop a wig on top, so their hair underneath and the scalp can get all the goodness that it needs. And that's the thing, like I say, a wig is an amazing thing for no matter where you are at your hair loss journey. You just need to choose the right cap construction for you. And that all can be done really easily online like this, or also coming into the store as well. And we're actually having a little pop-up, which is nice. And we'll probably be doing more than we're doing a pop-up in Dublin at the end of October, which would be great. So people can come and see us. So that's something, if that's successful, which it seems to be going well, we'll kind of be doing that more to be able to meet the women in person and for them to, again, to do that feel and touch and try on as well, which I always think is great. Amazing. But if you can't come see us, you can always go and book in a line with us and we can have the chats. And it's me and myself, me and my colleague Katie, who's like a wig genie, I call her. She's amazing. So she does all the styling and all the cutting, which I can't do. I'd love to be able to do it. I'm trying to learn, but I'm not very good at my hands.
I can train. So not all your wigs though are custom, or are they all custom? Can you just go in and buy a wig? Are they ready to go?
So all our pieces are made to order. So even the ones you see online, like the Julia, the Kimi, they're all kind of named after inspirational women in my life. So even all those ones, because we buy in our stock and the hair is raw, and we believe that, when the suppliers who make our pieces, the craftsmen who do all the knotting and all the fine details that takes hours and hours to make, they're amazing. They're not the best at color, but we're fantastic at color. We only work with, pro colorists to really kind of make those colors like you would see on a woman's head. So we really like to do that in-house in the UK. So hence when an order comes in, we then start the coloring process from when that order comes in. So everything kind of takes around 4 to 6 weeks to be made. That could also be our bespoke clients as well. That's the kind of lead time we kind of give for everyone, so we can make the wig kind of perfectly for that woman. So yeah, 4 to 6 weeks it takes as a lead time for all our gals to get their new piece ready for them.
So they come in raw, and then you can have them rooted, or you can have a more highlighted look. So you can really have it bespoke to the way that maybe even your hair was, and you want it like that again. So I'm sure a lot of people bring in or send you pictures of what their hair was like, and they want to just completely replicate that. And so that's great to have that visual as well. And what about for the cap? Do they measure their head? Like, do you give them instructions to measure their heads themselves, or?
Exactly right. Yeah. So we kind of do it. there's like small, extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. So everyone kind of falls into that category. But then what kind of makes us a little bit more of an elevation would be, you know, either in the in-person consultation or at home. We'll send a little video guide of me kind of showing the women how to do it. And then you'll fall into a category, but after the wig then arrives to us, we'll then make them fine-tune adjustments to really make sure it kind of fits to that head correctly. And it's, you know, it's the small things of wigs that make a huge difference, as you know yourself. The color, making it, again, having that little bit of a shadowed root to make the kind of scalp really pop, a really cool cut, lots of layers, highlights throughout it, balayage throughout it, and also having that cap fitting as snug as possible, so it's really comfortable. Because no matter if it looks fantastic, if it's not comfortable, you don't want to wear it, then it's going to sit in the bag, you know. So for us, that's something that's super important as well. And we're not just in the business of giving a person a wig and then saying sayonara. You know, we're there to help throughout the whole process. So when they come in for the final fitting, you know, we're teaching them how to wash the piece, put on the piece, take off the piece, maintain the piece. And we offer a repair service as well, because wigs don't last forever. No. Of course, you know, your brushing and your styling, the hair will shed, not tons. Our wigs don't shed tons, but of course it's going to be a natural shed. So in that time, in a year or a year and a half, when that hairline needs to be topped up, we also offer that service as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And the thing is with wigs as well, if you are wearing it every day, like you said, it is an investment piece. So you got to think about if you bought a dress and you're wearing it every single day, like what you would spend on a dress that you'd wear every single day, and it's going to last you for at least a year. So it's worth the investment, and they look so much more natural when they are a good piece and that the hair is light. I wanted to talk about your wedding and your wedding hair, because I mean, obviously the dress is always the big thing, but I also think the hair and the makeup is a big thing on your wedding day. And for you, your hair must have been even more of a big thing, because you could have any color that you want. You could have it curly in the morning, you could have it 20-inch or 22-inch for the ceremony, you could have it 18-inch for the evening, you could have all these different things going on. So that, I mean, to me, that would be, I'd have a million different looks going on every hour changing. So it'd be a nightmare. So tell me, for you, what did you know exactly what you wanted for your wedding hair? You got married away, first of all, did you?
I did. So I got married in a lovely island called Ischia, which is off the coast of Naples. Yes. It's me and Benjamin's place that we go. We've gone there kind of every year since we've been together. It's like our little private place that now all of our friends know about, which I don't know if it's good or a bad thing.
I know it looks, I've been to Capri, but I've never been to Ischia, but it is on my list for sure. So I'll definitely talk to you about that. So it's your romantic place. And so you had an idea of kind of, obviously, was it, what time of year did you get married?
Oh, it was hot. Okay. It was just before those crazy like heat waves and the fires. It was around like 34 degrees. So it was hot, really, really hot. But you know what? That didn't come in. It maybe should have, but it didn't come into my mind to factor in what piece I was going to wear. But for sure, that was the first thing when we set the date. That was obviously, the dress was really important, and that whole journey doing that with my mother was an amazing experience, and we had so much fun doing it. But the wig was definitely before the dress. And you know, it's funny when we speak about hair, you know, what color feels like me. And it's not even actually what my bio hair was, but I found that wearing red pieces, I was actually on an acting gig, and for years I was blonde, just like yourself. And that felt like me. And I always felt my most self being blonde. I think it's because I couldn't be blonde when I had hair as much as I wanted to. And I think in Ireland as well, or in the world, you know, blonde is so elevated that it's beautiful and it's blonde and it's gorgeous. But I actually don't think it suited me as much. And I was on this job and they popped a red wig on me, and I was just like, oh my God, this is me. This feels like me. It's kind of like a dark auburn that I really love. And it just makes my eyes bright. It just suits my skin tone. So
your skin tone, I mean, you definitely suit those warmer shades. They're gorgeous on you.
Thank you. I look super Irish, but I knew that I definitely wanted to wear a piece on the wedding day. Again, I love mermaid length hair. I love it long. And I knew I kind of just wanted to have it down and free flowing. I wanted my hair and makeup to be like I would be on a night out. Like I've done it myself. I just wanted it to look a little bit more heightened, but I really just wanted to feel like myself, but my most beautiful self. So I actually had Katie, who works with me in the store, kind of come out to kind of set my wig for me. And I had an amazing woman kind of add some extra amazing baby hairs around the front to make it look even a little bit more natural. So I went for like a 24-inch auburn with some kind of lighter orange pieces kind of running throughout, and it was bloody hot. It was so hot, it was crazy. So at the end of the night, it was a Jewish wedding, so we had lots of Israeli dancing and Jewish dancing. So by the end of that, I had to get my hair held up. I don't know how the wig stayed on. I was fanned down from head to toe. And then by the end of the night, the wig was off and I was in the pool, kind of hair free and loving that. But
so you had the best of both worlds. The wig was fun. And do you wear that wig a lot, that particular wig? Or was that like, is that kind of like with your wedding dress? Is it put like away, or?
It's so funny. I really want to wear it again, but because it was so hot and the hair texture was quite curly, it needs a wash, and like bits of it have kind of matted because I was that hot.
Especially underneath. Hair always mats really a lot underneath because that's where you perspire a lot as well. So it tends to be on your neck. You'll find that with lots of pieces, not just wigs, even hair extensions when they're underneath, that's where they mat the most on most people. So it's the heat of your head.
Totally. So my dress has literally just gone into the dry cleaners because there's someone else's fake tan and got all over it somehow. I was devastated.
Well, I wasn't there, so it wasn't my fake tan. I wear a ton of it. This time it wasn't me for once. Where was your dress from? Your dress is stunning as well.
Oh, it was Vivienne Westwood.
I thought it was, but I didn't want to just say that. Yes, I knew by looking at it was, but you know the way I wasn't 100% sure. I didn't ask you before. It was stunning. It suited you. You can't beat a Vivienne Westwood dress.
No, you know what? And the woman who I went to the Vivienne store in London, and the woman who was kind of dressing me and doing the whole process with me, her name was Rosie, and she was incredible and amazing. And it kind of, again, that dress just felt like if that dress was me on a night out, it would kind of be the wedding dress for me on a night out. I love it at the corset vibe. It also made me feel really held and nice, and I could eat all the pizza and the pasta and all the food and have a proper, Italian wedding and not worry about the angles for the pictures, because I was hoiked into that dress. I mean, it was definitely tight and definitely hot, but I loved it and I felt gorgeous on the day. And yeah, it was great fun.
Did you have a veil?
I had a veil.
Yeah, I saw that. That was stunning. I love a veil, though, I have to say.
I wasn't going to do the veil. I wasn't going to. And then kind of last minute, I decided, I actually had bought a long one, but then I decided I wanted a short one. So I got that altered like last minute. So Katie kind of pinned me in, and Ben had to kind of put the veil down as soon as I got to the top of the chuppah. And that was quite entertaining, him trying to put it down over my face without like ruining my wig, but he did a very good job.
Yes.
So yeah,
it's very dramatic. I always think a veil is very dramatic, and even if you only wear it for the photos, because I know a lot of girls don't want to wear one, but then when they put one on, they kind of think, wow. And I don't know, I think even just for those photos and then take it off for the rest of the day or whatever, but it always looks stunning when you look back, and yours was fabulous.
You only get one chance to wear it. I wore one on my hand from Amazon, but I mean, I'm only going to wear the veil once, so I thought, why not? Let's make the most of it.
Oh yeah, it was honestly, your photos were beautiful, and anyone, we'll give all your handler at the end, your Instagram and everything, so everyone will have to go and check out your fabulous wedding dress and your wedding hair and all that as well that we're talking about. So for you next, so really you're concentrating very much obviously still your modeling, but your hair industry, the hair wigs, your shop is your thing. I feel at the moment. Your passion. I can feel the passion.
Oh, thank you.
From London, which I love. I love that passion because I have that passion for the hair industry myself, and for fashion, and really for helping women to feel their best. That's really where my passion comes from, and I can feel it with you, which is fantastic. But so when you're coming to Dublin, you said you're doing a pop-up. Do you know where that pop-up is going to be, or?
Yes, so we're coming the 27th of October to the 29th of October. And for me, what's really important is for the women to feel safe and private. and not a lot of passerbys. So we kind of thought that we'd do it in a little hotel suite. So we're actually doing it in the Dillon Hotel, and it's by appointment only. So we don't have like people kind of walking in. For us, we like to operate that way to kind of space out our time, to give the women, you know, a good hour and a half where they can feel calm and relax, because it's an intense process. And so we do like 6 or 7 appointments a day, and we'll be based in the Dillon Hotel. And like I say, if people don't get to come to this one, we'll definitely be coming again, and probably we'll do the same thing either in the Dillon Hotel in the city centre. We'll always be in the city centre, and we'll probably do it in a little hotel suite so people kind of feel that it's, you know, private and glamorous. You can always get a cocktail after if you wanted.
Yes, the Dillon is lovely, nice and
yeah.
central. I was actually only there for breakfast with my mom last week, so it's very
Oh,
handy.
lovely. Oh, I'm good.
And they do a lot of shoots there, so it's always got nice salon areas, if you know what I mean, like those nice areas that you can lounge around with your cocktail. So that's good to know too.
Exactly. I think it's always nice. It's just nice to be able to give women a lovely experience, like I said. And I love modeling. It's amazing to be able to do it and to be able to kind of share my story through that. And it's just now feels like a day off going to a modeling shoot. It's like so much fun. But you know, my true passion lies in growing this business, and by growing it, being able to help more and more women and give them more of a special, authentic service that I feel that doesn't really exist out there. And I'm just trying to do my best to do good by the women of the world, and by
You're
people
doing
who
great.
thank you so much.
You're doing more than the good. You're doing fantastic. I'd love just speaking to you. I ask everyone, Amber, what is your hair personality? Because I think we all have one. And I do think sometimes it's different at different times in your life. Like maybe when you're younger, your hair personality is one thing. Maybe when you were blonde, it was a different hair personality, right? So now, have you a hair personality at the moment?
So funny, because I definitely find when I put on a different color wig, it shifts, your energy shifts, your aura shifts, how people perceive you shifts. You know, I always want to do like a little documentary of me like going out in different hairs and seeing how the world then takes you in as that woman. It's really quite bizarre. But my hair personality, I mean, when I'm in my auburn red wigs, I just feel like me. I feel, you know, quirky, fun, hopefully. It's a hard question, because I feel like it constantly evolves in my world, because I'm wearing lots of different wigs all the time, but the wig that feels most like me. So I think my hair personality, the auburn, is me, but in a wig form. So however you think my personality is, I like to think that that's me in my red kind of auburn pieces. And I've always been obsessed with, you know, Julia Roberts hair. So when I'm wearing her, I always trying to channel her grace and her aura. Do you know?
Well, you do a very good job of that as well. It's been fabulous having you on. Tell everyone how they can find you, what all your different accounts are.
Totally. Well, my business is called Amber Jean Shop. So you can look us up online, of course, at www.amberjeanshop.com, or on Instagram, we're just at Amber Jean Shop. And my Hairfree platform, which is really just a kind of a space, as I mentioned, for seeing visual imagery of other bald women, hearing their stories and seeing tutorials. That is on Instagram at Hairfree Life. And if you want to just follow my personal story of me and Ben and the wedding and my dog, that's just Amber Jean Rowan on Instagram. So you can follow all my life antics on there as well.
Oh, well, thank you, Amber. It's been an absolute pleasure. I could talk to you for ages about wigs and
hair.
And I'm going to pop into your store next time in London for sure. And hopefully I get to see you when you're in Dublin. But thank you so much for coming on Hair with Clare, and have a fabulous day.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.